What's up, y'all? Thanks for stopping by the Search T channel. What are my thoughts after watching AEW Dynamite tonight? AEW Dynamite for the 25th of August 2021. We saw Orange Cassidy take on Matt Hardy. And Orange Cassidy pins Matt Hardy a la British Bulldog pinning Bret Hart at SummerSlam 92. He just sits out with his hands in his pocket. I mean, British Bulldog didn't do that, but he did the same thing of sitting out and pinning Matt Hardy. 1, 2, 3. And another victory for Orange Cassidy and another loss for Matt Hardy. Who's his next rivalry going to be? You know, his next feud, because it was a pretty short-lived feud with Christian Cage. Is going to be the same thing with Orange Cassidy. Moving on. Now, Malachi Black gives Brock Anderson an out before their match in the main event and says that he will take out anyone associated with the Nightmare family if it doesn't go to plan. He told him, stay out there for the 10 count, get DQ'd, whatever. You don't want to come in here because when I take you out, I'm going to take your dad out. So we'll see what happens later on. Now, Chris Jericho announces his future plans. He talks about how everybody's celebrating this week. Had a great week in AEW, but not for Jericho, except for him. He wasn't celebrating. He has a proposal to end this once and for all, him and MJF, because he just can't get him out of his mind. He wants to end it once and for all, and a final match at All Out. And if he can't beat MJF, then maybe he doesn't belong in AEW no more as a singles competitor, but maybe, and also no longer be a Le Champion. So if he loses, he'll be on commentary on Rampage and maybe even on Dynamite, but he's not going to be wrestling in AEW anymore. And we see MJF arrive, and he says, leave me alone, just go away. Then he talks about, in the end, he says, hey, Jericho, you get the match, because it's really legendary not only to beat you, but imagine how legendary it is if he ends his career. So the match is on at All Out, and see what happens. Jericho's great on commentary, but we definitely want to see him in the ring. He still has years left. He's not too old. You know, he can still go. Now, let's talk about the one thing that really, really irks me, and it's irked me, annoyed me, and aggravated me since day one watching AEW. The guy's a great wrestler. Love him and his tag team partner, Ray Phoenix. You know, the Lucha Bros. But can Penta stop with the hand gesture already and repeating his name? You do it once, or maybe twice, but over and over, what's your point? You do it, and every time you do it, you get your ass knocked down, thrown out, punched, kicked. You know, I've never seen him do that and then not get knocked down from his opponent. But anyway, this tag team match was decent. It was between the Lucha Bros and the Varsity Blondes. But one of these teams is looking to win this match and advance to the finals to face Jurassic Express in the finals for the Tag Team Eliminator for a shot at the Tag Team titles in the Steel Cage match at All Out against the Bucks. And Lucha Bros, in the end, they hit an assisted pile driver on Brian Pillman Jr. and they win the match. So they advance, and then we see Jurassic Express go in there, extend their hand, they shake their hands, and then the Bucks come in, and they're so stupid because this goes to show that these guys can't do nothing right. They suck. That's why I hate the Elite. They go in there and push, Jurassic Express into Lucha Bros. The Lucha Bros are supposed to be like turning around, what? And then they're gonna, fight Jurassic Express. But then that didn't even work. And they all turn around and face Young Bucks, and they take them out on the outside. You see, I believe it was Phoenix, but I know it was Jungle Boy, and they do a suicide dive, or tope suicida as AEW likes to say it, and takes out the Young Bucks. So that's gonna be a really good match between not the Bucks, but the Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express next week. Jamie Hayter is accompanied by Britt Baker and Rebel, who needs to lose that crutch. She doesn't need it because didn't she wrestle with that crutch without the crutch, and now she has it again. What's she doing with that? Now, Red Velvet faces Hater, and how does a person? This is a key point, a certain point in the match where, and I'm asking the question: how does a person do a standing moonsault and miss your opponent entirely? And that's what Red Velvet did. She did a backflip and pretty much landed on her face. And you can hear, you can hear her audibly say "ouch," like that it hurt. And whose fault is that? It's her fault. I mean, you can't land on the person, not even graze the person with like at least your head or your face. You know, connects with the person's body. She backflips over her, over Hater, and then she just face plants on the other side of other side of Hater. Doesn't even hit her. How do you do that? Is a little bit too much intensity. You're a little too what do you call it? You need to kind of calm down, and the adrenaline's kind of making you do moves that's like it's just I don't get that. It was just, I looked at it, I go, did she just do that? And then we see a Hater perform. I guess what you're calling Uranagi to a backbreaker. I know they call it different moves. I know they do call it, I think they probably call her move differently. Obviously, been a different move, and then she hits a lariat, a pretty damn stiff lariat that turned Red Velvet upside down, inside out, what have you, and she gets the victory. And one thing about JR is that he mentioned that she has 40 pounds on Red Velvet. I think JR needs to not mention a lady's weight or how much more she weighs than someone else. Because come on, JR, you know. Now, Dark Order's backstage and they're showing cracks in their union. And will they get past their differences? Because it's been hinted at that there might be a breakup. I think I see, headlines. I see thumbnails of people reporting that it's a possibility. You saw Alex Reynolds and Uno get into it. Alex Reynolds even told Uno that just because you have one in your name doesn't mean you're the leader of, the what do you call it, of the Dark Order. And he was the leader at first, and then of course he brought in Brody Lee, and then of course Brody Lee unfortunately passes away sadly, and then I guess Evil Uno reverts to being the leader again, but I don't know what's Alex Reynolds talking about because Evil Uno is actually the what you call the de facto leader. I mean, he was a leader, like I said before. Brody Lee came along, but see what happens with that and see if they get past. I mean, I don't know when Anna Jay is gonna come back and what she's gonna think when she comes back. But now CM Punk, he made his debut in Dynamite after an historic debut on Rampage. Now, he's asked by Tony Schiavone, name one thing that brought you back to the AEW. I guess you could say brought you back to wrestling via AEW. He's not coming back to AEW. He never was with AEW before, so. And then Punk goes, I can't hear you. Says Punk because the CM Punk chants are relentless. He then says, "Hey guys, can this gentleman here is trying to ask me a question? Can you guys keep it down like that?" And then he's asked the question, and then they continue with the chants anyways. And then CM Punk's just smiling like, you gotta let them have their moment. They want to chant my name, hey, why not? But he's back for the young talent, and mainly one guy, Darby Allin. He says that he should retire the voice of the voiceless. He used to always say that that's what he was, but apparently he wants to retire that because everyone in the back has a voice and they listen. I guess they're saying that the AEW listens to their voice. Unlike WWE, that's what CM Punk is saying because him and other wrestlers were never allowed to say what they want or maybe even add something to their gimmick or whatever. Or it's only a certain few that can do that. And CM Punk, can he still go? Does he have what it takes? And is he still the best in the world? He talks about Darby Allin. He says that his 15-year-old self would have been a fan. Says that he reminds him of himself. And then the yes chants ring out, and Punk tells the crowd that someone else's shtick, and you'll have to be a little more patient. Daniel Bryan. I'm pretty sure he's going to be probably named Bryan Danielson. Is going to be coming soon. He might make his debut at All Out or maybe afterwards. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. And in the end, CM Punk, to end it, he says it's not about proving everyone wrong. It's about proving himself right. Then he has one more thing to say, and he gives a shout out to his wife, April Mendez, who we all know, aka is AJ Lee. And I know there's a lot of people who are wondering if she's going to come back. She's still very young. She still can go, I'm pretty sure. But if she doesn't, hey, that's her choice. And she's doing very well in what she's doing right now. So why push her or have her come back when she doesn't need to. We'd love to see her, of course. I mean, I would. I know I would. But let's move on. Eddie Kingston apparently is being targeted and continuing to be targeted by the TNT champion Miro. Talks about he wants to push his head into the swimming pool or the water or the lake or whatever, and he says something like he wants to follow him down there, something like that, and then he's like, "Is there something that's gonna come of this?" Eddie Kingston, I don't think he's even addressed the situation yet. Maybe he's just too busy with Moxley and them dealing with, you know, Daniel Garcia and 2.0 and some other people that are, letting in cheap shots and all that. But anyway, I like to see that match. It's going to be a hard hitting match between the two. Maybe it'll happen at All Out. Now the Wingmen. They take on Darby Allin, John Moxley, and Eddie Kingston. Speaking of Eddie Kingston, in trios action. And did someone tell Justin Roberts to cut out the drawn out John in his ring announcement of Mox's name? How annoying that is, because he does that drawn out John, and he used to do that for John Cena, and it worked for John Cena, but it doesn't work for, what do you call it, for Moxley. Maybe someone in WWE told those guys to stop doing that because he used to do that. Justin Roberts used to do that for John Cena, and even though that's not a trademarked thing, but WWE can be petty. They can be a little petty. Maybe they did, but I'm glad, and it's good because that got really old and annoying really quick. I had to fast forward every time I would hear that, or press pause. I mean, press the mute button. You know what I mean? Like, but Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth, really needs to stop imitating him. I know people say that he's not. I think there was a thing that said, oh, someone, the thumbnail that says what he feels about people comparing him to his brother. I mean, he's annoyingly bad. He's trying to do that hip shaking, and it looked like he had a broken hip, and he couldn't do it. And then he's doing something with the chair in the match, and he's trying to be like over the top, yelling and all like his brother does now. And he looks like him too. Of course, he looks like him because they actually do kind of look alike. But he has the same look, the same thing. I go, dude, he calls himself the Hollywood Heartthrob. What does it call him? Something like that. And I'm going, isn't that something similar to what your brother does? It's like you need to really do a complete makeover and stop doing it because no one will take him seriously. I don't take him seriously, you know. But thank God this match was done, was ended quickly. Maybe not really quick, but good enough for me. As Darby hits the coffin drop on JD Drake and he gets the pin, giving him some momentum going into All Out against CM Punk and the Wingmen, Peter Avalon, Cesar Bononi, JD Drake, and Ryan Nemeth. Oh, what is that fucking what do you call it? The 3MB of what do you call it? Just an annoying group that who cares? It's like that's all they are. Therefore, is just to annoy you. It's like they're not gonna do nothing. They're not gonna accomplish anything in this company. Cesar Bononi could be a beast. Could be a guy that can go in the ring if they push him the right way instead of putting him in this silly group. Now, Ty Conti, one of my favorites, and she rips up a contract or some offer from the Bunny, to join HFO. And both women start to brawl. And then the match was made for next week. The two will go at it, and I'm glad to see that because I do like the Bunny as well. She can go, and she really is a good talent in the ring. So I think it's going to be a good compliment. They'll complement each other in the ring really well, and they'll actually probably put out a good match. Now, the Elite. I was fast forwarding in this. I fast forwarded, and then when I turned it on, out comes Christian Cage. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll watch this. And then he ends up showing a video where a guy was saying that Kenny Omega was 10 years old at the time. I didn't catch what Don Callis said, but he probably said that he was training Kenny Omega, or Kenny Omega beat Christian Cage. I don't know what he said, but then Chris Cage showed it, and the guy was saying how Kenny Omega was 10 years old, and he gave Christian Cage's first match, and then of course you hear the soundbite from who was that? Sony Schiavone, or was it Excalibur that said that he was hired and given a match and then fired the same day? You see, Christian Cage has long hair, looks like the Christian when he arrived in WWE, and that's pretty, that's pretty. It was a good segment only because the Elite got embarrassed by the Impact champion. But then again, they are an embarrassment. So that's why it could be something important, but I'm gonna fast forward them because I can't stand listening to them. And what is up with Brandon Cutler with his stupid spray? Now, I think that's water or something because he's trying to keep them cool. So how would that do anything to Christian Cage's vision? Because he sprayed it in his eyes. I mean, it would blind you for a second, or maybe a little bit, but it's not gonna damage your eyes or anything like that because it's not fucking spray or something. But what is that? He kept spraying on the what do you call his hat? Who was that? Fucking I forgot who it was, but he was like, "Why are you spraying his hat for?" Like he's just an annoying little like he's like when he does that, it's like he's a annoying little fly in your fucking in your face. It's just like you look stupid too. Like anyway, let's move on. And Mox gets one contract. He says from New Japan is from Japanese legend Satoshi Kojima. And he's looking forward to doing that. He's looking forward to doing what he wants to do, and that is that every time he talks about how every time he squeezes a person's head, something like he wants to pop someone's head. If he wants to, he squeezes on that person's neck. He wants to put a hole in that person's neck so he'll be eating his food through a straw for the rest of his life. Mox ain't playing around, and he really wants to get a piece of some of the guys in New Japan. So I think it said August 5th. I mean September 5th, and thing. He's going to be facing him at All Out. Now, the Gun Club versus the Factory. I put it here, the Factory, because who gives a fuck? And then in the end, Colton Gunn, the oldest son of Billy Gunn, rolls up QT Marshall because he was too busy jaw-jacking with Paul White. Paul White got up, pointed to him, saying, "Man, stop saying my name, stop looking at me." And QT Marshall, being the arrogant fuck that he is, and the guy who always acts like he's a great trainer. He's trained a lot of people in the factory, but it's just like he ends up getting rolled up and pinned, and that's it. The Gun Club wins. And the Men of the Year and Dan Lambert of I forget the place, but they have joined forces. They've joined forces, and Lambert cut down a number of AEW talents, including Sammy Guevara, Orange Cassidy, and Darby Allin. Talks about woke culture and everything, and every time somebody comes to watch wrestling, and it says that you have a lot of weak people in the back, a lot of weak men, weak boys, something like that, because they're not real men. And then he's hooked up with who's that? Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. He's got a good voice. He's got a good. He's able to just to talk on the mic, and he's able to cut a promo. So it might be good for them to have a voice like someone a mouthpiece that could talk for them. I'm not saying that they're not they can't cut a promo, but I really don't like listening to them, and maybe it's better that they have someone like that. Now Malachi Black in the main event against Brock Anderson, and he obliterates him much like he did to Cody Rhodes at AEW Homecoming. Now, before this obliteration, they talk about how it's his first career AEW match in singles competition. Brock Anderson, but 5-1 in tag team competition. He's only had 6 matches in his career, and Malachi Black has been in the business for 19 years. Now Brock is game, but Black takes over, doesn't let up, but he puts it into any momentum from Brock or lack thereof, and connects with that spinning back kick, that spinning roundhouse, formerly known as Black Mask. I don't know what he calls it here. I think they mentioned it, but they didn't say it here all you hear was JR saying that roundhouse, so. And then after the match, Black has a steel chair in hand, but Arn tells him to put it down, which he does. Then, an attempted spinning roundhouse, Arn blocks it pretty effectively. But then Black kicks Arn in the nuts, and then he connects with that very same kick and knocks Arn Anderson on his butt, on his back, and he is out. And then Lee Johnson comes out to come to the aid of his coach, come to the aid of Arn Anderson and Brock, and he looks at Malachi back, stares at him, really huffing and puffing, and Black just smiles and is thinking, okay, this is going to be my next victim, and that's probably going to be who he's going to wrestle next week. And he's going to do the same thing and knock him out too with that spinning roundhouse. And he looks impressive. I love the entrance. I love the mask. I actually ordered a Malachi Black shirt. Right here I have the the Sheeta shirt, and I'll have that shirt, and I want to get the CM Punk one. So pretty cool ideas that they're coming out with the sheets, with the shirts, and looking forward to adding that to my collection, those two shirts. But anyway, that's my thoughts on AEW Dynamite for the 25th of August 2021, and I enjoyed it. Very, very good. Not a lot of segments, not a lot of in-ring segments or interviews or anything like that. They had a number there. Alex Marvez is back there talking to the people and stuff like that. He was talking to Ty Conte before she got into it with the bunny, and then interviewed some others, but they were actually very good. I mean, I enjoyed them in the sense that they weren't annoying. They weren't like what the the elite. They were only in that one segment, and then of course the Bucks had to come out during the Eliminator tag team match and stuff. Made themselves look like fools, just like their compatriots in the elite. The one thing that Kenny Omega said, that, or was that Don Callis said, that you go something like, I'm just paraphrasing, but it's like made it to the point where he's like he couldn't cut it against Kenny Omega, standing toe to toe or face to face with him, or something like that. And I'm just thinking, didn't he just beat Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship? I think he did. I think he proved himself. He wasn't a failure. He said something like, "You're not second best," because he's trying to kind of give him a jab in the gut for pretty much like saying that because of Edge. But then again, Christian had his own single success too, a multi-time world champion as well in Impact, TNA then. WWE he was too. He was I think a three-time world champion, former ECW champion too. Edge has some more titles than him, but you can't expect these two people from a tag team to be equally successful. Some of them advance more up than their partner. The one that's the reason why you sometimes the lesser successful tag team partner, when they split up, they always say it's he got Marty Jannetty, or he's the Marty Jannetty of the team, because Marty Jannetty, look what did he do when he split with Michaels, right? But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.